Jason's eyes opened slowly. Everything was blurry. His head was spinning. He couldn't remember where he was. The air felt thick and cold. Something soft pressed against his back, not grass, not dirt, something glowing and warm. He groaned, trying to sit up. Pain shot through his ribs. Then he saw her. A girl, no, not a girl, something alien. She was kneeling beside him. Her skin was pale with a hint of blue. Her long silver hair glowed faintly in the strange light. Her eyes, large, golden, and glowing, stared at him like a child studying a new animal. Jason froze. She tilted her head, watching him closely. Her small fingers hovered above his chest, not touching, just feeling. Her expression was calm, was curious, not afraid, not angry, just interested. Jason blinked. "Where am I?" The girl blinked back. She didn't understand him. He looked around. Trees tall and twisted rose from glowing purple mist. Strange flowers opened and closed like breathing lungs. The sky above wasn't black or blue. It was violet. No sun. Just soft light coming from everywhere. This wasn't Earth. "Am I dreaming?" The girl spoke something in a soft voice. Her words were musical, like a song underwater. Jason didn't understand, but her tone was gentle. He tried to move again. His muscles were weak. His right arm was bleeding, and his suit was torn. The alien girl touched a glowing stone around her neck, then touched his arm. A warm feeling spread. Through his skin, the bleeding stopped. His pain faded just a little. Jason's eyes widened. "What did you do?" She smiled, just a little, then stood up and pointed toward the trees. She wanted him to follow. Jason didn't know why, but he trusted her. Maybe it was the way she looked at him, not like prey or a prisoner, more like something important. He pushed himself up. Legs were shaky, but he could walk. Slowly he followed the girl into the forest. The trees whispered as they walked. The ground glowed under their feet. Strange insect-like lights floated around them. Jason kept looking at the girl. Her movements were smooth, like a dancer. She didn't speak again, just kept glancing at him with curiosity. After a few minutes, Jason couldn't stay quiet. "Are you alone here? Do you understand me?" She stopped walking, looked at him. Then she crouched down and drew something in the glowing soil. A star, then a circle around it, then a small stick figure with a round helmet, clearly a human. Jason's heart skipped. "You know what I am?" She pointed at the drawing, then at him. She nodded. Then she drew something else's ship. His ship. Jason suddenly remembered the crash. He had been in space, part of a transport crew. Something hit the ship. It'd run. For the escape pod, fire screams. Then, the girl watched his face. She knew he remembered something. Before Jason could ask more, a strange sound echoed through the trees. Click, click, click. It was sharp, insect-like, dangerous. The alien girl stiffened. She grabbed Jason's arm and pulled him behind a thick tree. Jason's heart pounded. In the distance, he saw a shadow. Something tall, with long legs and sharp blades instead of arms. It sniffed the air, then growled. Jason held his breath. The alien girl pressed a finger to her lips. The creature moved on, vanished. Into the fog. Jason looked at the girl. What was that? She didn't answer, but her face showed fear. Then she did something strange. She reached out and touched Jason's forehead lightly. Her fingers were warm. Suddenly he saw a flash of her memory. She had found him lying in the mist, broken and bleeding. She had watched him fall from the sky. She had saved him. Jason stepped back, shocked. "You showed me that?" She just nodded. Jason looked around again. This wasn't a dream. It was real, and he was not just lost. He was being hunted. Jason followed her deeper into the glowing forest. The purple mist thickened with each step. Strange lights hovered between the trees, tiny floating orbs that pulsed gently, like fireflies breathing. The ground shimmered faintly under their feet, responding to their movement as if the planet itself was watching. She moved ahead of him without fear, her silver hair trailing behind like a comet's tail. Every now and then she turned a glance back at him, her golden eyes glowing softly. Jason didn't speak. What could he say? She didn't know his words. But there was something else between them. A quiet link. Like the forest wanted them to stay together. They passed a strange tree, its bark smooth like glass. Inside it, Jason saw something, a reflection of himself. No, it was the girl. She touched the tree. The reflection flickered her image beside another figure. It was a human. Jason frowned. Is that me? She looked at him and nodded. He didn't know how, but she had seen him before. Maybe not him exactly, but someone like him. She bent down and started drawing again, this time. Not in dirt, but in glowing sand. A star. A circle. A small house. A figure of her. Then beside it, figure of a human, then a heart between them. Jason blinked. What is this? She looked at the heart, then at him. Her expression changed. For the first time, Jason saw something. Behind her golden eyes, something ancient, sad, hopeful. Suddenly a loud boom shook the forest. Jason ducked. The girl didn't flinch. Instead, she ran. Fast. Hey, wait. Jason shouted. She stopped and waved him forward. Jason followed, pushing through thick purple vines and strange ferns that seemed to move out of his way. The sound came again, a low hum, like a machine waking up. Soon they reached a clearing. Jason stopped dead. There, in the middle of the clearing, was a broken escape pod. His escape pod, the same one he launched in. The metal was bent, the door ripped open. Sparks flickered inside. She walked up to it and placed her hand on the pod's surface. Her fingers glowed. Jason stepped closer. How do you know this? She didn't answer. Instead, she crouched beside the pod and pulled something out, a small metal disc, half melted. It was a recording beacon. Jason grabbed it. This has data. It could tell me where I am. She tilted her head. Jason looked at her. You brought me here on purpose. She nodded, then slowly, she reached up and pulled something from her hair. It looked like a star, a tiny crystal, floating just above her scalp. She placed it in Jason's hand. Instantly, images flashed in his mind. A great ship, a battle, her people some part machine, some flesh-escaping destruction, a mission gone wrong. Oh, then. Jason's ship crashing, or watching from the trees. Her choosing to save him? Jason gasped. You've been waiting for me? She nodded, but then her expression turned serious. She pointed toward the far edge of the clearing. Jason turned. A group of shadows stood there, large figures, not human, not like her. They had claws and weapons. Jason knew that look on their faces. They had found him, and they didn't want him alive. Jason and the alien girl ran fast and silent. The forest behind them echoed with growls and strange metallic screeches. Whatever those creatures were, they didn't stop once they had Jason's scent, but the girl knew the paths. She led Jason through a thick veil of vines that opened like curtains, revealing a hidden tunnel made of stone. Jason expected dirt and roots. Instead, what he saw made his breath catch. Roman pillars, actual, ancient stone columns, of a covered and half-broken. Carvings of lions and eagles, Latin script. What the hell? Jason whispered. This shouldn't be here. Not on a strange alien planet, light years from Earth. The girl stepped into the ruin like she had been here many times. Her fingers touched the stone with reverence, as if this place was sacred. Jason followed, confused and tense. Why is this here? He asked, knowing she wouldn't understand the words. But hoping his tone meant something, she responded by motioning him forward deeper into the ruin. He passed statues of God's Earth, Godsand, old Earth tech, sealed in crystal, almost like a museum buried underground. Then he saw it. A rusted NASA probe, the kind that vanished decades ago. Jason's knees buckled. That's impossible. She walked to it and placed her hand gently on the American flag. Then she showed him something more shocking. A stone slab with carvings of humans. of Earth, of the solar system, and in the center, a shape Jason couldn't ignore, a spiral with a glowing core. The same spiral etched into the wall inside his escape pod. Jason stepped back. No, this isn't coincidence. This planet wasn't random. Humans had been here before, or someone had taken pieces of human history and rebuilt them here. Jason stared at the alien girl. What are you? She didn't answer with words. Instead, she pressed her glowing palm against his chest. Just like before, images rushed into his mind, humans screaming as portals swallowed them, structures being rebuilt from memory. The girl's ancestors watching, learning, copying, mixing technology and biology. Jason gasped and fell too. His knees. This wasn't a planet. It was a mirror, a place where the past was studied, reconstructed maybe, even worshipped. Then he noticed something even stranger. On one of the stone carvings was his own face. Jason touched the stone, heart pounding. The carving wasn't exact, but it was clearly him, a man with his features, wearing a similar suit. He turned to the girl. You knew I would come. She nodded slowly. But before Jason could ask more, the ground trembled. The creatures had found the ruin. The girl pulled him behind one of the columns. A spear slammed into the stone where he had just stood. Jason looked at her, eyes wild. We have to go. But she shook her head and pointed upward. There, hidden beneath the vines, was an ancient lift, clearly alien, but made from earth materials too. She pressed her hand against a panel. It glowed. Jason felt the whole ruin begin to shift. The floor opened, and a staircase spiraled downward into pure darkness. Jason looked at the girl. It's uncertain, but her face was calm. She reached for his hand. Again, not out of fear, but purpose. He took it, and together, they disappeared into the secrets below, into the ruins that should not exist. Asterisk. The spiral staircase groaned beneath their feet. Jason followed close behind the alien girl, his heart racing. The sounds of the monsters above still echoed snarls, the pounding of claws, stone being shattered. But down here, silence, then light. The stairway opened into a vast underground chamber, a place that felt more like a memory than a room. It wasn't made of stone or metal. The walls shimmered like mist trapped in glass. Jason stepped in, and the floor pulsed with light under his boots. The alien girl turned to him. She didn't speak, but she didn't need to. She placed her hands. On the wall, the dreamscape awakened. Jason gasped as light exploded all around him. He was no longer in a cave. He was standing in open space, floating between planets and stars. Earth drifted nearby. The moon hovered close, and beside him stood the girl. But she wasn't the only one. Others like her appeared, some male, some female, all glowing with strange energy. And among them, humans, from different times. A man in a pilot suit from the 1960s, a woman in a World War uniform, a boy in a modern jumpsuit. Jason spun. What is this? The girl walked across the starry platform, her silver hair trailing. Stardust, then the vision shifted. Jason saw portals, huge spinning rings in the sky, swallowing aircraft, buildings, even cities. Earth didn't lose people, Jason whispered. They were taken. He watched as human survivors were brought to this world, mixed into alien cultures, and studied. The dreamscape dimmed. He stumbled backward, breathing hard. This was no accident. He wasn't the first. But maybe. He was the first to wake up suddenly. The walls cracked with real noise, not illusion. The creatures had found the hidden stairway. They were coming. The girl grabbed Jason's arm, but this time he pulled her. Come on. Ouch. You saved me before now. I save you. They ran into the next chamber, and Jason realized they weren't underground anymore. Somehow, they'd stepped into another layer of reality. The air was thin, like a high mountain. The sky was black, full of bright stars, but the forest below looked fake. Like a dream frozen in time, Jason turned to the girl. Where are we now? She touched his forehead again, and this time he saw the truth. This world was layered like pages in a book. Each layer was a test. Each test watched by the ones above, and Jason had triggered something by waking up here. Something ancient. It's something that was never supposed to be disturbed. The creatures chasing them, they weren't hunters, they were guards, meant to erase anything that saw too much. Jason clenched his fists, then let them come. He picked up a crystal blade embedded in the ground, half alien tech, half stone, and turned toward the sound of clawed feet and snarling breath. The girl's eyes widened, not in fear, but awe. For the first time, she whispered a word he understood: protector. Jason stood in silence, the strange blade in his hand humming faintly. The alien girl stood beside him, her breathing came even as the shadows drew near. The creatures burst into the edge of the dream layer. But something was different. They didn't charge, they stopped, sniffed the air, and looked directly at her. Jason shifted. Why aren't they attacking? The girl slowly stepped forward, her hand extended not in fear, but in command. The largest creature growled, its eyes pitch black, locked onto hers. Then it lowered its head. Jason's mouth fell open. They obey you? She turned to him and reached out her hand. Jason hesitated, then let her touch his face again, but this time wasn't a quick flash. This time, he saw everything. The vision hit like a wave. Jason stood on a high platform, not as himself, but through her eyes. He saw her world before it broke. A planet with oceans that floated in the sky and cities built on beams of starlight. Her people, once full of laughter and wisdom, slowly began to fade as generations passed. They were dying. Not from war, from loneliness. Their creators had left. The humans that were once scattered here were long gone absorbed, but their essence remained. In her, she wasn't just born here. She was created, not by machines, not by nature, but by a spark left behind in the blood of many species, a trace of human will. It's made her different, and that's why she had waited. It's not just for anyone, for him. Jason staggered back, a breath trembling. The girl looked at him quietly. She hadn't just saved him. She had searched for him her whole life, because he was her last link to what she had. Always longed for connection. He took a step forward. What am I to you? She placed her hand gently on his chest. A new image entered his mind. Two hearts, pulsing as one. A memory that hadn't happened yet. Jason didn't know how to feel. Was this fate? Destiny? A setup? But when he looked into her eyes, he didn't see manipulation. He saw someone terrified of being alone. And then the ground beneath them pulsed. Again the layer began to crack. The creatures shrieked and backed away. Jason looked around. What's happening now? The girl turned toward the rising black wall in the distance, a dark wave that erased everything it touched. She touched Jason's arm and gave him one last image. Merge or perish. Jason's heart pounded. What does that mean? But deep inside, he already knew. He wasn't brought here. It's just to survive. He was brought here to make a choice, one that could rebuild a dying race, or let it vanish forever. And that choice? Now, the ground split beneath Jason's boots. The sky above didn't fall, it unraveled, like a scroll being torn in half. Jason grabbed the alien girl's hand and pulled her back just in time as part of the dream layer elapsed behind them. Swallowed by the advancing black void, the creatures that once hunted them fled in fear. Even they didn't want to face what was coming. Jason and the girl ran through archways made of light, past floating stones carved with human DNA strands, alien constellations, and something else, a third code, neither fully human nor alien. Jason slowed. This place? It's alive. The girl nodded solemnly, her glowing eyes fixed on a gate ahead. It wasn't made of metal. It was made of memories, flashing scenes of humans laughing, aliens dancing in star gardens, and children with mixed features. She touched the gate. It opened like smoke being pulled back by the wind. Inside stood a massive chamber, and at its center, heart, not a heart of flesh, but of data, energy, and emotion. Beating softly, Jason stared in awe. This is the core of the planet. The girl touched his arm again, and visions filled his head. This planet was not natural. It was built by ancient humans and alien allies long ago. A sanctuary, seed world. It was never meant to be permanent. It was meant to test if two worlds too. Species could truly become one. Jason staggered back, his head spinning. So this whole thing, the crash, the forest, the ruins, all of it was a test. She didn't nod. She looked sad. Because the truth was worse. Jason saw deeper into the planet's dying memory. Thousands of humans had arrived here over centuries. Lost in accidents, ship crashes, even strange disappearances on Earth, all pulled in. Some survived. Most failed the test. Fear kept them apart. Anger, mistrust. But Jason, he had protected her, trusted her, touched the heart that made him the last candidate. Suddenly the chamber shook, the walls flickered. The heart beat faster. A voice not hers, not Jason's, boomed in his mind. One must choose, merge and awaken, or watch all fade. Jason turned to her. Merge. What does that mean? She stepped closer. Her eyes shimmered with something deeper now, not light. Tears. She pressed her forehead against his, and for the first time, he heard her voice inside his mind. Not just body, not just soul. I become part of you. You become part of me. Jason pulled back, shocked forever. She nodded, the chamber flickered, the void outside cracked the sky. Above, Jason stepped toward the heart. His mind screamed. With doubts, but his heart. It felt calm. He looked back at her, this alien girl who saved him, waited for him. It might now be his other half. He took her hand. Let's finish what they started. They stepped into the light together. Jason stood inside the core dot. Light wrapped around him like living fire. The alien girl beside him, her hand locked in his, watched quietly as the great heart pulsed faster, stronger, as if recognizing them. The bond is ready, the voice echoed again, this time deeper, layered with thousands of voices, human and alien. Jason's thoughts spun like a storm. He had only been awake on this world for a day. And now the fate of a species rested in his decision. Merge and awaken, or let the cycle end. He looked at her, this girl who was no longer just alien, no longer just memory. She was both, something new. Jason closed his eyes and chose. He opened himself not just mentally, but down to his core. He allowed her in, her thoughts, her hopes, her ancient loneliness, and all the pain she had carried for generations. And in return, she took his strength, his curiosity, his compassion, his stubborn refusal to give up. Their souls didn't collide. They wove together. The chamber erupted with light. Every memory, trapped in the stone walls, exploded outward. The carvings spun like rings of time. DNA strands, human and alien, merged into one perfect helix, rising high into the air. The heart beat once more, and then silence. Jason opened his eyes. He wasn't alone in his mind. Anymore, she was there, not whispering, just existing with him. Their hands were still linked, but now, something shimmered around them. Their skin pulsed with shared light. They'd become a living bridge, the final answer to a forgotten experiment, and the planet knew it. The sky above repaired itself. The void retreated. The creatures that once hunted them knelt in the forests, their glowing eyes filled with peace. The ruins restored themselves. The old carvings were replaced with new ones, images of him and her standing side by side, hand in hand. The girl looked at him. Her voice inside his mind was no longer soft. It was whole. You were never meant to be a visitor, Jason. You were the final piece, the one they hoped would come. Jason breathed in slowly and smiled. Then let's show them what unity looks like. Many years later, deep in the stars, ships would pick up a signal, a new language, a new civilization, not human, not alien, but something greater. And when they decoded the message, it would simply say, We are one.